How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. Kwame Brown recently been on fire. After being criticized and being labeled bust all these years, he's finally happen up and sticking up for himself. The most entertaining thing on the internet right now so far, Kwame Brown's YouTube channel has been lit. I watch every minute of it since last week and his rants are absolutely epic. Since I haven't made a video in over a week, I would have never thought that my next video right now, I'm gonna be talking about Kwame Brown and how he changed his image forever, how he stood up for himself. All these years of being labeled as a #1 pick and not living up to expectations on the court, he's succeeding in all aspects of life outside of basketball. Speaking the truth, everybody in the media that's went after him absolutely has no legit response. They scared right now because they can't handle Kwame's facts. With that said, let's take a look at Kwame Brown's life, his NBA career, and how he changed his image forever. Kwame grew up from a small town in Brunswick, Georgia, dealt with adversity from a young age as he mentioned from his videos, grew up in a tough environment, had to play other kids in ball just to put sneakers on his feet. Without knowing where he came from and all the struggles he's faced, it's easy for anybody to make jokes and call him a bust upon other names. Kwame was an easy target the last 20 years. I even made some jokes about Kwame on my previous videos for entertainment and basketball purposes only, but it's truly sad that the mainstream media doesn't paint a positive narrative and don't tell us all the difficulties certain kids face when they make it to the league. We all judge Kwame based on his basketball skills. The fact of the reality is, not everybody pans out in the NBA. That doesn't mean that they're a failure. Some guys are just better than others in ball. But when Kwame was 18, he was able to change his family's life forever. Send his mama to the golf course. Now Kwame's been retired for years, living his best life, owning a lot of land, minding his own business for 20 years until it got to a boiling point too many of his critics can't handle. And yet, nobody challenges his facts. They all focus on the negativity about his career. Oh, he wasn't that good, he can't play. They made it seem like he was the worst player ever. And all the guys who's responded saying, don't be mad at me, be mad at MJ for picking you #1, this and that. I mean, Kwame does make a good point. They can only talk basketball and nothing negative about his personal life during his playing days. Stephen A. Smith made his famous rant in 08, calling Kwame a bona fide scrub.
Kwame Brown is gone. The City of Angels, Hollywood just should be celebrated. Throw a parade already, whether you win a championship or not. This man was a bona fide scrub. He can't play.
Kwame let Stephen A. get away with it for 13 years.
Oh, Stephen A., my motherfucking career was better than yours. You good at talking. The only thing you can beat me at is a spelling bee. Learning big words. And you might can't beat me at that, punk.
Until all the mainstream media members say something positive about Kwame and his accomplishments outside of the NBA, Kwame's just gonna clap back at them with facts, creating a strong platform for himself in the coming days, weeks, months, and years. Kwame Brown has the potential to be the biggest voice amongst any retired athletes, constantly involved helping out the community, doesn't even think about his playing days anymore because he knows it's long gone and it's way more than life than basketball. He might have been out of the NBA early on, but still currently 39 years old, relatively young for an average person. Given all the obstacles thrown at him, people calling out some of his family members and trying to blame their actions to Kwame when he had nothing to do with it, he's been exposing the media and the narrative they try to dictate. Kwame understands the hypocrisy and calling out every one of those media members. Their only argument simply basketball, and basketball only. They don't bring up any of the positivity and the success of a kid that came from nothing to helping his family while making it to the NBA. Let's be clear, anybody who's able to make the NBA is awesome in basketball, let alone having a 12-year NBA career. That's a success. Yes, Kwame played 12 seasons in the league, something that can never be taken away from him. Some of the most interesting points that stood out to me when the white kids used to make fun of him, saying, oh, he doesn't belong at this school. Instead of retaliating and getting into physical fights with them, his motivation was proving them wrong by getting better grades. Using that energy to focus on succeeding, very mature at a young age. That's a powerful lesson for young kids, proving other people wrong by beating them at what they claim they're better than you in. Kwame stated, proving doubters wrong Brown by getting them A's and A's in school, more powerful than anything his fist would have done, given his size and strength. Only a fool would consider challenging Kwame to a real fight. Finished high school at Glenn Academy, given a full ride to the University of Florida. Perhaps if Kwame would have went to college, maybe he would have been a more successful NBA player, but given his situation, being the 7th of 8 children, his mother cleaned hotel rooms before going on Disability Act in '93, Kwame's older brother had to turn into crime to compensate for family poverty. Kwame, on the other hand, blessed with his height and athletic gifts, averaged 20 points, 13 rebounds, 6 blocks as a senior, put up 17-7, 5 rejections at the McDonald's All-American game. At the time, high schoolers to the NBA became the new norm. Kevin Garnett entered in '95, Kobe the following year. Because Brown knew adversity made his family stronger, the other big names from his class, the Tyson Chandlers, the Eddie Currys, all came straight out of high school. Brown considered the best athlete of the three, Curry the biggest one, Tyson the longest. Michael Jordan of the Wizards, who announced his comeback, worked out all three of those guys. A 19-win team the previous year, during the sessions, Brown had his way with the skinnier Chandler, let alone the 01 draft wasn't that crazy until the later selections. Pau Gasol from Spain the 3rd pick, Gilbert Arenas and Tony Parker late first rounders. The first 4 guys in the draft didn't even go to college. Jason Richardson out of Michigan State, Shane Battier, Eddie Griffin, rest in peace, Sedana Dobb, Rodney White, Joe Johnson, some solid players but not the best draft class by any means. Brown also opened up his story recently, saying MJ originally did not want him and allegedly got into heated arguments with then Wizards owner Abe Pollin. Jordan wanted to trade Brown to the Bulls for proven star Elton Brand. Jordan knew an 18-year-old couldn't really help him win now. MJ seriously trying to compete for a championship at 38, 39 years old, knowing his days are limited. Brand coming off averaging 20 and 10 for 2 straight seasons, already established at 22. A team with Brand and Jordan would be absolutely contenders in the weak East. But Wizards owner did not want that trade, so Jordan took his frustrations at the poor 18-year-old Brown, who never took Jordan's decision personally, knowing that the NBA is a business. So now Jordan stuck with an 18-year-old at practice. Given what you've seen from The Last Dance, you can bet MJ was not very friendly towards Kwame, called him many names. The fact that media members of course are biased towards the best of the best players since they want to be around them, get all the invites and do the interviews, nobody wanted to share Kwame's story. Instead, the media continues to blame Kwame for the Jordan Wizards years. It was Brown who got most of the blame.
Michael has never brought me to tears. Did he upset me a lot? Yeah, I mean, he's a competitor. That's what I think it's much to do about nothing. So many people want to make up stories about Michael Jordan that he could have been the greatest guy in the world to me, they still would have made up something.
The team was filled with vets back then, the Hubert Davises, Popeye Joneses, Christian Laettners, and Chris Whitneys of the world. The super young guys didn't really play much. Kwame would be checking in games, drawing blowouts, averaged 4.5 points, 3.5 rebounds, a 37-win team. MJ's season got cut short with injury. Elton Brand would have likely helped the squad get a top 3 seed in the East. So when things went wrong with the team, the blame was just directed towards a teenager who barely played when he was supposed to be traded, and it didn't happen. No wonder why Kwame became an easy attack. In year 2, Brown improved to averaging 7.5 points, 5 rebounds in 22 minutes. If Tyson Chandler or Eddie Curry were in Kwame's position, they would also be bashed by Jordan and be labeled certain names. Maybe Tyson doesn't turn out to be the player he is if his confidence gets destroyed like that. Being in an environment with tough bashing, after Jordan retired, Wizards signed free agent Gilbert Arenas. Kwame's 3rd full year, he was pretty solid, averaged a career best 11 points, almost 8 rebounds, 30 minutes of action, a good mark in the defensive era. Arenas, Larry Hughes, and Stackhouse all shot 40% from the field. Kwame averaged 13 and 9 per 36 as a 21-year-old. Most bigs that age putting up those types of numbers, showing some of his potential. Kwame also does have a point that Gilbert and Hughes shot 17 times a game. Brown only attempted 8 shots. Even Jarvis Hayes got more shots up and averaged less points. Dealing with injuries, Brown limited to averaging 8 and 5 in 42 games, had foot problems in the early 05 year. The team filled with young guys also did not all get along. Head coach Eddie Jordan didn't manage everybody well. Kwame didn't like the fact that Gilbert barely ever gave him the ball down low or drew lobs at him, shot it a lot. Since he was a score-first point guard in the future of the Wizards franchise, Kwame eventually got traded to the Lakers alongside LaRon Profit for Chuggy Atkins and Caron Butler. Butler was actually a proven good, so the Lakers didn't get the best deal out of the trade, going from Jordan to Kobe, two alpha dogs with the same type of personality, because Brown, being the #1 pick, had heavy expectations, wasn't playing like a star, became an even easier target to criticize. The starting center for most of the 06 season, averaged 7.5 points, almost 7 boards, shot 53%. When Chris Mim went down with injury the latter part of the season, yes, Kobe did most of the carrying for the 06 team. The squad wasn't talented, but to Kwame's credit, he did set those hard screams in Kobe's 81-point game, made the hustle plays, and slightly got better, averaged over 13 points, 9 boards on 61% shooting the final 14 games of the regular season. The Lakers won 11-3 those games. People gonna say, oh, he's still a huge bust. Nobody's gonna mention those stats in analytics. There's many guys 100 times worse. That hasn't even gotten close to the same criticism as Kwame. Anthony Bennett only lasted 4 seasons in the NBA. Adam Morrison 3 years. Hasheem Thabeet 2.2 points. None of them remotely close to getting ridiculed the way Kwame does. When you talk about numbers, Kwame played more games than Adam Morrison, Anthony Bennett, and Hasheem Thabeet combined. Take that for data. Those 3 combined would also be $14 million short of Kwame's total earnings. Kwame actually played respectable at stretches in his career. Anybody who remembers anything about the 06 playoffs with the Suns, Kwame was cooking Boris Diaw on the post. Even got some chant in game 3, had a 13-11 game, 5 assists, 3 blocks. The fans were chanting Kwame, Kwame, Kwame. I remember this clearly 15 years ago. Nobody in the media is ever gonna bring that up. Combined with facing a false rape allegation with all the outside noise, give the man credit for trying his best on the floor. Although he didn't have the strong hands, blows open dunks from time to time, and some mental lapses, did Anthony Bennett or any of the top 5 picks that didn't pan out receive chance? I don't think so. Kwame went on to average 13 points, 6.5 boards that series. Those are not bust numbers by any means, not all-star numbers either, but anyone who could put up those stats, pretty decent in the NBA to say the least. Yes, I did criticize Kwame on my previous videos. Since I cheered for the Lakers and wanted them to beat the Suns, I still wish Kwame didn't jump on that Tim Thomas pump fake in game 6, stood his ground. The Lakers were that close to advancing to the second round. One thing that got me angry as a fan, but that was 15 years ago. Gotta get over that. Kwame also couldn't stay fully healthy, played just 41 games in 07, averaged 8 and 6, shot 59% from the field. If he was drafted outside the top 5 and wasn't under Jordan's shadow, nobody would have been criticizing him the way they do. They all gotta be careful now mentioning Kwame Brown's name. After a promising stretch, Kwame also had a career best 19 points in game 3 of the 07 playoffs versus Phoenix. Of course, battling through injuries, which allowed Andrew Bynum to start the following year. Kwame regained his starting spot after Bynum went down, but had a disastrous performance against the Suns January 17th of 08 on a TNT game, the worst lowlights of his basketball career. 7 turnovers, 5 fouls, got booed from being traded for Pau Gasol weeks later. When Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson said, oh, Pau was only traded for 1 player, just Mark, just one. When Jeannie mentioned Kwame's name, they giggled and laughed.
And Kwame Brown, and so,
So
do you play with Mark?
No,
No.
that was a one-man trade. You just used the name. He was the name just there.
Kwame took that personally.
The only joke you got is about basketball. I got a joke about your life, you punk bitch.
And exposed their immaturity.
What is Derek Fisher? Is he the mentor or the stepdaddy or what? Cause he your mentor too, you punk.
When Stephen A made his infamous rant, those words most likely cost Kwame a few extra millions.
He has small hands. He can't catch the ball. He's got bad feet. He can't really move. Even though he's mobile, doesn't really know what he's doing.
Stephen A, you bald forehead, you were thinking you tough. Saying all kind of shit like, oh, then you come see me. Well, let's go to Seattle and you sign a, well, Seattle, you ain't got to sign no waiver. Meet me in Seattle where you can have mutual combat and talk like that. I'll slap a it'll look like you got a toupee on the front of your head, or how hard I'll slap the back of your head, motherfucker.
A black announcer kicking a successful black man. The narrative that Brown had small hands only came from MJ. Everybody just ran with it. Kwame's a 7-footer. For average people to say he has small hands is laughable. After 08, his stock fell down heavily. LA won titles without him. Spent some bad years on a dysfunctional Pistons team. Although Kwame did make some impact with Charlotte and averaged 8 and 7, some games he he looked good, but played hurt most of his career. Suited up for his final season in 2013 with the Sixers, out the league by 30, despite averaging just 6.6 points, 5.5 rebounds, being called many names. At the end of the day, Kwame Brown made $64 million for his playing career. 64, pretty damn good. Matt Barnes giggling when Kwame's name gets mentioned, actually made way less than Kwame. At the end of the day, Kwame Brown's life is a success story after everything he endured through childhood, from getting verbally abused by Jordan and not performing the way many wanted him to as the #1 pick, after hearing his name for only negative reasons for so long in headlines, from the media, an easy narrative for many to make fun of. We're all guilty with the basketball jokes, but in Kwame's defense, people trying to pretend that they know a person based on how poorly they played, that paints a false perception. The media didn't take the time to know Kwame Brown the person and talk about his journey getting to the NBA. Amongst many successes, many can only dream being in Kwame's position at 18 years old. The Kwame Brown treatment has been very biased and unfair. When his name ever gets mentioned in a tone claiming that he's a failure, Kwame has every right to defend himself and clap back at the biased media instead of inviting him to their shows or explain his NBA story. Kwame's just too real for them, let's be honest here. They call him names which gets taken out of context for clicks. Kwame is somebody bigger than basketball right now, somebody who understands the importance of life. His platform's only gonna grow. Don't be shocked if he becomes one of the most prominent voices of any former athletes. Although he didn't always smoke guys on the basketball court, he's smoking them left and right now. Imagine getting made fun of for many years and keeping quiet, minding your own business. Somebody who hasn't played in the NBA in almost 10 years still gets brought up like he's a punching bag. They thought they were gonna easily make fun of him forever, and he's just gonna take all that and stay silent. When the man has family members and his kids gotta hear all that negativity about their father just only because of basketball reasons, Kwame Brown simply stood up for himself. You gotta respect that. Kwame's accomplishments in life is not an absolute travesty. If anything, it should be inspiring. Most people in his shoes wouldn't even be able to handle the mental toughness and everything he went through. The ones continuing to poke jokes at him, fellow players, without even bringing him to explain his side of the story, they all got absolutely exposed, destroyed, abused, annihilated, and humiliated by Kwame's intelligence, and none of them have challenged any of Kwame's talking points yet. A lot of young people can really learn life lessons from Kwame Brown. Thank you so much for watching this video. Kwame Brown's social media outbreak sensation, the most entertaining thing that's happened in 2021 for you. Let me know in the comments below. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Kwame Brown's the man. Absolutely love what he's saying and exposing everybody. So once again, thanks a lot for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed my video. Subscribe for more content, more good stuff coming soon. I love all of you. See you next time.